Namo Buddhaya, Namo Amitabha. Hello everyone. So today I feel like talking about the three periods of Buddhism or the three ages of the Dharma. So this refers to the duration of the time that Shakyamuni Buddha's teachings will exist in the world. So the Buddha told us in the sutras, after he entered Paradamana, the first 500 years, or some souls say 1,000 years, this period is called the age of the right Dharma, where there is still the right teachings that exist and people are still practicing rightly, and a lot of them can attain enlightenment by their own self-effort. And after this, it will be the age of the semblance Dharma, where the true teachings have become a bit obscure, and people still practice, but only a handful of them can realize enlightenment by their own self-effort. So this lasts about 1,000 years. And after that, it is the Dharma-ending Age, or the degenerate age of the Dharma, which lasts about 10,000 years. And during this time, there is only a diluted form of teachings exist, and rarely anybody practice, and almost no being can realize enlightenment by their own self-effort. So regardless of which source, we are currently in the Dharma-ending age, the degenerate age of the Dharma. And just like to add here, right, the essence of the Dharma, Dharma is the Buddha's teachings which reveals the truth of life and the universe. So the Dharma is the truth. The truth is always here, regardless of whether the Buddha teaches us or not. But without the Buddha's teachings, we will not be able to understand or to realize it. So, in essence, the Dharma will not disappear. But these three periods of the Dharma really refers to the capacities of the beings here and their collective karma. So when the Buddha was not too far away from people, then people can still realize enlightenment. And when the Buddha was in the world, the Buddha said something and lots of people realized the enlightenment to the stage of Sotapanna or Arahant. But the further away that the Buddha is from us, the less beings can actually realize enlightenment until now, which we are currently in the Dharma-ending age, where rarely anybody can actually realize enlightenment by their own self-effort. And the Buddha also described to us clearly what will happen during the Dharma-ending age. In the sutra, the Buddha calls this world the evil world of five turbidities, where there are so many conflicts and sufferings for the beings here. So this is a time that's characterized by unrest, strife, famine, pandemic, natural disasters like floods and droughts. The Buddha talked about this in detail in the sutra. For those who are interested, you can go and read about it, and I'll drop the link in the description below. The Buddha also said the demonic path will flourish. In the Mahaparidamana Sutra, the Buddha also said the Lord Mara will come to this world to destroy the right Dharma. So the Lord Mara is a demonic celestial being, and he really do not want to see anybody to exit the cycle of samsara, to exit his range of control. And they want people to be attached to desire, to lust. So Lord Mara and also his demonic army, they will mingle into the Sangha and to break all the monastic precepts. They will get married, they will have children, they will drink alcohol, they will eat meat. If they're not going for alms, if they have the options, then they should refrain from eating meat. This is also talked about in the Mahayana Sutras. So they will do all kinds of things that break all the monastic precepts. And people will look down at the Sangha, so they can destroy the Sangha, they can destroy the community that upholds, practice and spreads the Dharma. By destroying the Sangha, they can destroy the right Dharma. So the Buddha predicted all these scenarios that will happen in the Dharma-ending age. And that's exactly what's happening in the world now. Shakyamuni Buddha also said during the Dharma-ending age, his disciples were transformed into all kinds of identities in the world to help share the Dharma. But they will never reveal that they are Buddhas or Bodhisattvas, except maybe at the time of death, if there is the need to give people more faith. So if you hear anyone that claim themselves as sentient Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, or they claim that they are enlightened, I do not believe them. These are what demonic beings try to destroy the right Dharma. Why is that? An enlightened being has no ego, no self. One will not even think that one realized enlightenment, like the Buddha clearly says in the Diamond Sutra. An Arahant will not think he's an Arahant. A Bodhisattva will not think he's a Bodhisattva. A Buddha will not think he's a Buddha, because they have no notion of the self, no notion of the others, no notion of the sentient beings. And the Buddha also predicted that during the Dharma-ending age, the first sutras that will disappear is, for example, the Suragama Sutra. Because this is a difficult sutra, it's like an encyclopedia of all the Dharma practices. It's indeed not easy to study, and people are not interested in studying it. And slowly, all the 12 divisions of the sutras, that's all the Buddhist sutras, Buddhist teachings, that will all gradually disappear. And the last sutra that will disappear is the Infinite Life Sutra. So in the Infinite Life Sutra, the Buddha said with his compassionate power, he will keep this sutra to last for an extra 100 years. So this will be the last sutra that will disappear in this world. So why is that? Because the Infinite Life Sutra talk about Nianfo to attain rebirth in Amitabha Buddha's Pure Land. Given that we are in the Dharma-ending age, the most suitable method for beings to practice, for beings who want to attain liberation in one lifetime, it would really be the Nianfo, the Pure Land Dharma Gate, to be mindful of the name of Amitabha Buddha and to attain rebirth into Amitabha Buddha's Pure Land. This is the easiest Dharma Gate. It does not require one to realize enlightenment by their own self-effort. Instead, we bring our karma with us to the Pure Land, and there we will realize enlightenment. We attain rebirth in the Pure Land by relying on Amitabha Buddha's great compassionate power. So the Infinite Life Sutra is the last sutra that will disappear in the world. And after that, for a very, very long time, there will be no Buddhist teachings, no sutras whatsoever. For a tremendously long time, the world will fall into a period of darkness, and people's lifespan will decrease tremendously. Even the Dharma-ending age, people's lifespan will decrease. Interestingly, the Buddha says, during the Dharma-ending age, the women will be more diligent than the men in terms of cultivation. And when all sutras will disappear in the world, what will be left will only be just Namo Amituofo and Namo Amitabha Buddha. For anyone who can hear the name of Amitabha Buddha, they will still be saved, if not in one lifetime, but future lifetimes, due to Amitabha Buddha's great vows. And after a very long time, the future Buddha, Maitreya Buddha, will descend from the Tusita heaven and come to our world to teach the Dharma. So currently, Maitreya Bodhisattva is staying in the inner core of the Tusita heaven to expound the Dharma. This is where, for the future Buddhas, if they were going to come down to our world to teach the Dharma, they will first be in the inner core of the Tusita heaven to expound the Dharma first, to be the one lifetime replacement Bodhisattva. So only one more lifetime, then they will realize Buddhahood. So the lifespan for beings in the Tusita heaven is 4,000 heavenly years. And one celestial day equals to 400 human years. Doing the math, the Maitreya Bodhisattva will come down to this world after about 576 million years to be the future Buddha and to expound the Dharma. So at that time, the world will be very different, right? Because after the beings degraded so much, some of them they realize what they did was wrong, and then again they will start to cultivate good, and then slowly, the human lifespans will increase, and human beings will also be much better. So don't worry, it's not the end of the world yet. Still a very long time to go. But unfortunately, we are currently in the Dharma-ending age, and this is really not a good time in the world. So in the Dharma-ending age, the Buddha recommends us to really practice Nianfo, to recite the name of Amitabha Buddha and vow to attain rebirth in Amitabha Buddha's Pure Land. Other practices, such as chant and maybe more difficult practices, they could work in previous times. But because this is the Dharma-ending age where people rarely practice anything and enlightenment is rarely attained, so the easiest path, the easiest practice is the Pure Land Dharma Gate, is really the Nianfo practice. For most beings on earth, if not all beings, we really have to rely on the power of Amitabha Buddha to help us to attain rebirth in the Pure Land so we can transcend the cycle of samsara. If we really rely on our self-effort, then most of us cannot actually realize enlightenment. Remember, you need to realize enlightenment minimum to the stage of Arahant in order to exit the cycle of samsara. Even a Sotapanna cannot exit the cycle of samsara. Sotapanna, the first level of enlightenment in Theravada Buddhism, where they let go of the attachment to the body. How many of us can really let go of the attachment of our body? And what does it mean to let go of the attachment to the body? There's an example the Buddha talked about in the Diamond Sutra, like someone slice your meat off piece by piece, one by one, and you're not angry. Why? Because you have no attachment whatsoever to this physical body, then you can say you let go of the attachment to the body. But even this cannot help you exit the samsara. There's still the attachment to lust. How many people can really completely let go of all attachment to sensual desire? Even that one only attains enlightenment at the level of non-returner. One is not yet an arahant. For an arahant, you need to let go of more attachment to be able to exit the cycle of samsara. If you have the slightest tiny bit of attachment, you cannot exit the cycle of samsara. That's why to realize enlightenment through our own self-effort is so difficult. It is almost impossible during the Dharma-ending age, like the Buddha has clearly told us. The Buddha has clearly predicted, and the Buddha is omniscient, and the Buddha will not lie to us, so the Buddha's words are true. Some people say, I don't like the tone of the Dharma-ending age. And some people say, why people emphasize about our inability so much. So we also need to be realistic about our capacities. In theory, we are all Buddhas. We all have the Buddha nature. But in reality, we are very far away from enlightenment, let alone to say Buddhahood. It's like gold can be found in ores, but it is not through the process of smelting and refining, and the gold can be in its purest form. And you have to ask yourself, do you really think, can you really let go of all attachment by your own self-effort to exit the cycle of samsara, to liberate from all sufferings in life? If the answer is no, most likely it should be a no for most people, okay? Then really, what's your choice? The Pure Land Dharma Gate, to Nianfo and to attain rebirth in Amitabha Buddha's Pure Land. Now we also see that regardless of what schools of Buddhism that you practice, in Mahayana Buddhism, they all add on the Nianfo practice. They all want to attain rebirth in the Pure Land because people also realize it is indeed a Dharma-ending age. We indeed do not have much capacities to actually realize enlightenment through our own self-effort. That's why the Dharma-ending age is the time for the Pure Land Dharma gate to spread widely in the world. Right? Otherwise, how can people exit the cycle of reincarnation by their own self-effort? And that's why Shakyamuni Buddha kept the Infinite Life Sutra to be the last sutra to disappear in the world. This is exactly the reason, because the Pure Land Dharma gate is the one and only Dharma gate that do not require us to realize enlightenment by our own self-effort. This is the other power, or the two-power Dharma gate, that allow us to rely on the power of Amitabha Buddha, a perfect enlightened being, to deliver us to his Pure Land. In that way, we can transcend the cycle of reincarnation and realize Buddhahood. In the Infinite Life Sutra, the Buddha also said there are 100 million bodhisattvas who have regressed from Anutayasaya Sambodhi, from the perfect enlightenment, because they have not heard of the Pure Land Dharma gate. And we must rely on the power and the vows of Amitabha Buddha to first deliver us to Amitabha Buddha's Pure Land, and there we will realize enlightenment. This is indeed true, and the Buddha clearly tells us so in the sutras. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Amitabhaya.